I remember you. In the mountains.
Hey guys, Tyler here, and thank you so much for joining us once again for another exciting episode of the award-winning podcast, In the Mountains.
In the mountains.
Thank you. And we are finally back. We took a little bit of a hiatus, not because we didn't have a lot to talk about, because we do, but it's been kind of a busy time for all three of us over these last couple months. So we're back with episode 7. We've got a lot to talk about today, including, I even have to have notes here. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We've got a little bit of a retrospective for Season 3 now that we are completely done, and Season 4... No, we don't have like an official date for it yet, but it's probably going to be after Plunderstorm ends, probably here in within a month or so, I'd have to guess. We're going to talk about Plunderstorm, and boy howdy, I think these two have something to talk about with Plunderstorm. And then also we're going to dive into some tidbits for Season 4, including initial thoughts on each of our roles' hero talents. Glitch might even have like a double role here because he plays 2 classes.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to talk about like who finally got the legendary axe, because we got finally, after how many hot fixes and buffs to the drop rate, we finally got some axes. But we finally got that axe though, and you guys will have to stick around to figure out if we were right with our picks. But as I said, we've got these 2 lovely gentlemen here. We've got Glitch and Zaft with me, as always. You guys ready to have a great stream?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
So we're just going to kind of dive right in, and we're going to talk about Season 3. So we have not been raiding for what? Has it been a month? Roughly a month, I think. Since we've streamed. Time gets away from me, I think.
Yeah, it's been weird.
Let's just say it's been a month. We don't go over notes before these, so it's been a month, sure.
We spend a lot of time talking before these, and it's hardly
but not about anything important. It's all memeing and what you see on different trucks on the highway.
Commentary.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on the other podcast. Anyway, so it's been quite some time since we've actively raided, so I think it's pretty comfortable for us to say Season 3 is officially behind us. We might do a few Mythic Plus runs, helping Fenwig in particular, Odwin if he's going to be around for a change, and
oh no,
I'll throw the shade. Let's do it.
He's gonna kill me.
No, it's funny. These people are around. They're just playing other games. Odwin's just been playing Helldivers 2 with us.
They're doing this thing called Have a Life, and this is World of Warcraft. It's not allowed. It's not allowed.
I didn't go that far. Well, excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll take the foot out of the mouth, and then we'll continue on with the podcast. But so we have a little bit of stuff we can do, but we're pretty much on hiatus for now. But that does mean we have some more time on our hands to finally record this podcast. So first things first, let's talk about, and I guess I'll go first. I want to talk about Mythic Plus real quick, and then also kind of our final thoughts on the Amir Drasil raid, which is the raid for Season 3. So the notes I have favorite dungeon for Mythic Plus, maybe a surprise pick, and then also what my least favorite dungeon was. And I haven't even thought about this, but I wrote it down on the piece of paper, so I should probably answer it, huh? Let's start off with my surprise pick. I'm gonna it's my podcast or our podcast. I'm gonna move them around. But my surprise pick for this season had to be, and they already know it, this is the one thing I did know, which was Throne of the Tides. Initially, Throne of the Tides, I was not looking forward to. I'm like, oh, this is going to suck. It just doesn't flow well for a Mythic Plus. It's just going to feel bad, and also, that elevator is not going to help anything. Well, they fixed a lot of those problems. The one problem that you would still have would be on the way to the 4th boss, that final boss. And honestly, the last boss was still kind of Sometimes it would go fine, sometimes it would go horribly wrong, and sometimes you would have the ink that would be on the ground, and you would have both people with the water over it, and it wouldn't clean it. Like, it just straight up wouldn't work. But all that being said, I didn't hate it. I enjoyed my time in there, at least for the first 3/4 of the dungeon. Then if you took the area slow going to the final boss and you took your plenty of time on the final boss, it wasn't too bad. But I'd have to say my favorite dungeon. Let's do least favorite. I think I have a better idea. I'm trying to think of the actual dungeon pool.
I have it in front of me if you want. I can hit you with the list.
hit me. I know it. So my favorite one's Waycrest Manor. We did Waycrest Manor a ton this tier. A lot of it was because we were trying to get Tipsy her Blight Reaver. I know she ended up getting one, but I don't remember if we got it through like funneling means or what. Maybe she got it out of her vault.
I think it was a vault drop.
Yeah.
No.
But we had done it quite a bit, and if you guys watched my videos, you definitely saw that as well. So that's probably going to be my favorite dungeon. There were still some problems I needed to fix with the leapers, the guys that would the pigmen. That was frustrating, and Zaft can probably talk about later on. Not being able to pull anything in Rawl's room because he's going to pull Rawl and then you're dead.
It was just,
His aggro
as soon as I got the helm enchant, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was the helm enchant.
Yeah.
So unintended effects are so fun.
Also, the palliateer set was doing stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was just bad.
At least.
Yeah.
All right, so hit me with the rest of them. I know we have both sides of Dawn of the Infinite, and I was fine with those.
Waycrest, Throne of the Tides, as you said. Okay. Everbloom, Taldazar, Blackrock Hold, and Darkheart Thicket.
Okay. So out of those remaining, I would have to say it's probably a Taldazar. Not that there really wasn't like bad dungeons when we first saw. Maybe at least
as your least favorite. As your least favorite, you're saying, or your favorite?
Yeah.
For a Taldazar.
So my favorite is Waycrest. My least favorite is a Taldazar.
Okay. Got you. Okay.
There wasn't like one that was like I never want to go in there. There was not a Grimrail Depot. So yeah, once I got my 20 last expansion, I promised myself I wouldn't go back in there. I just didn't like it. But I'd probably say it was a Taldazar, not because it's necessarily hard, but just like the last boss, you can have a great run. You can have a seriously great run, and that last boss, and everybody can do things right. And you just have, like, let's say your damage is just a little bit lower, right? You're still working on, you're trying to get in there to get your first 20, or you're at an 18 still, and you're trying to push a key. And you get a Taldazar, you hear everybody say, oh, it's the easiest key, it's freelo, it's great. Which it was easy up until that point, I would say, particularly if you took the key slow. But you get up to that key, and you can kill your key. And we did that quite often. And I feel like we had competent people that we got better as the tier went along with making sure that the spiders were put in good places. But if you lose a DPS on that fight and you don't have a res, it becomes infinitely more difficult. And so because of that, I'd say a Taldazar is probably my least favorite. And it didn't help that there was no drops really that I needed out of there. So that's kind of my thoughts for Season 3 Mythic Plus. I will throw it over to Glitch and see what you say about yours.
So, if I had to pick a most favorite, look, I'll be honest. I think Season 2 was, at least for now, the pinnacle of M Plus in this expansion. We'll see about Faded. I know that's not the question, but it informs the opinion. But if I have to pick a favorite, it's actually probably BRH. Believe it or not, I think Blackrock Hold. It was a comfortable dungeon, but it was a comfortable dungeon that you could do things to make it uncomfortable, but make it really exciting, really fast. Yeah, you can do the first couple of pulls, on their own, and that's pretty safe. You got enough interrupts. Or you can run that all the way up to the mini boss, or if you're brave enough, to the boss, Bloodlust, blow everything up, and you can keep doing that. BRH, you can do, just a couple pulls, honestly. That's a lot of fun when you pull it off. It's a lot of danger when you die and you're getting taken damage. Sometimes we would hit that hallway right before Elisana, I think the second boss's name is, and get mulched by a bunch of arrow barrages and whatever. I don't know, people getting hit with boulders, that's always funny. Being able being able to flex in the hallway with all the little dudes, you know, like with AoE and
Mm-hmm.
knockbacks. I don't know. The last boss feels cool. I just like BRH.
And I feel like the timer on that one was, I'm not gonna say forgiving, but the timer was
It
not
was.
tight. I wouldn't
Yeah,
say
yeah.
where you can play risky if you want to, but you don't have to. You don't feel like you have to. Like I even did that at a 24. We had one DPS up alive on Ilisana for most of it because I had killed the other two, and we still timed the key, but we almost two chested the thing. Like it was
Yeah.
so doable, and it's no wonder that a lot of people who are getting portals for the first time are getting that portal for the first time, which is cool. I like that as an accessibility thing.
It's like
So
I
not.
definitely got.
I was gonna say not to like jump on your time, but like I 100% agree. That was my favorite dungeon, and it
Yeah.
was for those reasons. We got to do really big pulls, um, and like as a tank, being able to make that discernment of like, okay, like you know, right after third boss, full bullpen, full bullpen. You know, we're going all the way up, right? And third boss as a paladin is I always felt cool doing that boss. I always felt the most tanky doing that boss because I could sit there and I could say, I got the next charge, I got the next charge, I got the next charge, and I could just keep going. And I think I ended up eating like 4 or 5 charges before I was like, hey, I can't get that one. But by that time,
It
boss
don't
is
matter.
dead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like that dungeon has a lot of points where you can flex as an individual. That's always nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
it's
Agreed.
challenging, but not insane. It's not as challenging either, but not snooze fest. Case in point, the dungeon that was my least favorite. Surprising nobody, if you've watched any of our episodes talking about this, I never want to do AD ever again. It is the grim rail of this season. Cannot get me in there. I hope Fenwick doesn't need that portal because I'm not going in there. And there's a reason the last boss has "as" in the freaking name. That's all we'll say about AD. God,
Was there a
God.
dungeon that like surprised you? Like you were like, oh man, like my opinion really changed on this one?
Yeah, Everbloom. I thought I was gonna
Everbloom.
hate Everbloom, and I don't. You know, once
Mine
in particular when we saw the second boss and we were like, okay, we need a game plan. That's always
Mhm.
fun. Whenever we come up with a plan and it's we put it together and we're like, okay, well maybe Greeley here, maybe he's after this, I do that, and it comes into place. I
Yeah, I think our
love that.
strategy for that
Those are my
second
favorite
boss
raid bosses
changed.
too. So
Yeah,
It did,
our,
yeah.
our our strategy for that boss changed like 3 or 4 times. Where we were like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and then we were like, oh no, this is actually the way that we have to do this, and
Well,
the way that we time 20s.
in particular on that fight, it's always nice. So we have like Rend will come in and we'll have like interchangeable DPS. They'll come in for us with us for sometimes, and we'll do the fight the way we do it because it works for our group and the way our collective hive mind brain works. And then you bring somebody else and they're like, well, why do you do that? And I'm like, that's a great question. This is why. And then they see just how we kind of function and how it works so well. Like I
Or we'll
appreciate
do
fights
stuff
like that.
or we'll do stuff with somebody who's like Pinoy, who's way more. He does a lot of pugging, so the
Mhm.
way that he pulls dungeons and the way that he does bosses is very pug friendly. It's you don't need as much communication to do it this way. Whereas like we're doing strategies that, yes, they're better and faster for the dungeon, but it is helped a lot by the fact that we're all in Discord together. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. All right, Zaf, I think you're up.
yeah, that
So,
was
Oh,
done.
it's
Sorry.
me. Oh,
so you've
so
already told us your favorite. What do you think
yeah,
is
my
the
favorite
other
was
one?
Blackrock Gold. Man, I don't I don't want to make us all sound like a broken record, but I think my
Pile
least
on,
favorite was
pile on,
Ataldazar.
pile.
Ataldazar
Yeah,
was garbage. Not
done with
it was
AD.
it was the kind of I don't know. I felt like I couldn't like I don't know. It was the kind of place that like you just there wasn't a lot of exciting things happen. It's not that exciting of a dungeon. It's a pretty boring dungeon, especially because it's been kind of done to death. Like yeah, like we people did it a lot in BFA, right? But like you could say the same about Waycrest, right? Or you could say the same about Blackrook and Darkheart because they were done in Legion. But like a Taldazar was one that like everybody was doing it because of Razan's Gleaming Eye. People were doing it constantly. It's small. The only redeeming quality of a Taldazar is that it's fast. It is a short dungeon. It doesn't take that long. There are multiple times that like we've gotten to the end of it and been like, oh hey, like we're already headed to the last boss. Thank goodness. Like
Yeah.
um
I do appreciate that they changed and made that middle pack easier. Because it used to
Yep.
be like you don't pull the middle pack. I appreciate it when they return to these dungeons and they allow you to see more of the enemies in said dungeon because they don't just like one shot you or make your life hell.
Yeah. So yeah, no, AD is probably my least favorite. The one that surprised me the most that I ended up liking way more than I thought it was Waycrest. I thought I was gonna hate Waycrest. Because I just had so many bad memories of not just sanguine pools in Waycrest, but infected mobs in Waycrest, and I think that tainted my thought process of BFA. Yeah, infected mobs.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't say that.
the infected affix. Having that just tainted my ideology of Waycrest. But after a while, it became like it was sort of fun to do. We did it a lot. Because of as we say, we did it a lot because of Tipsy. I don't know. Got to have there's like some pulls that are like fun and silly, some pulls that were like, hey, we're scared, like this is a scary pull, and I'm just like, I don't care, we're doing it anyway.
Get your butt in there. I pulled it. Let's go.
Yeah, we pulled Matron. Sorry, I like pulling Matron. I know.
Oh well.
Banned.
But I don't know.
Don't
It
have
was
to
one
worry
night.
about it anymore.
It was because I thought that I had to replan out my route every week, and yeah, and also just like the tight confined
That
spaces. I like having tight
Oh.
confined
Ooh, we're gonna lose you.
spaces in the character. Playing a Tauren, bad idea. Oh, am I back to be? I don't know what's going on.
Oh, are you back?
On my end, it's totally normal,
Well,
which is funny to me.
you're great.
I'm really sorry, sir.
No, to
In-
kind of piggyback on what you just said, I appreciate. Oh, you are back, maybe.
I'm still here. Nothing has
I
changed.
don't know. You say you are, but your voice says otherwise.
We need one of those
If I turned into a
typical
robot,
difficulties
wait, let me-
screens.
Whee! Right.
do one of these.
Get Channel 2 news.
Yeah.
No, that's when they play the Pledge of Allegiance and the TV turns
Oh
off
yeah,
at
yeah,
night.
yeah.
But to
Thank you,
piggyback
good.
on what Zaft had said, I really appreciate it. It made me love Waycrest more. Like I already love Waycrest, don't get me wrong, but the fact that you didn't have to replan a route, you found a route and that's what worked because all the doors are open. You don't have to go, oh well, this is a great week for Waycrest, but these are the doors that are open, and because of those enemies you have to go fight, it becomes so much harder when it
So
should be a
glad they
rewarding
made that
dungeon
change.
for that week.
If they hadn't made that change,
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
that would have been awful.
So that's kind of our thoughts for the Mythic Plus. And then just real quick, I promise we wouldn't talk about retrospective too much, but I like to talk. Favorite boss of a Mirdrasil. Just what you thought your favorite one was. I have a tie. I really liked Tendril. I appreciate and I like the flying from platform to platform. It's very basic. It's nothing crazy, but it didn't feel like a gimmick. It didn't feel like they forced it. It did feel like the fight flowed with it. We also helped that. I mean, I missed out on heroic progression for the most part on that boss, but it didn't feel like it was too difficult early on. And then once we kind of did get it, it kind of went pretty quickly. Although, if you have the seeds that get dropped out into the fire randomly, and it spawns the giant tree, and then it's game over. But my other one was actually Fyrak. I enjoyed it. That's a fight that's an end game boss that was 7 minutes. Or 8 minutes or whatever. We don't need a 14-minute like Sylvanas or a 10-minute jailer or a 12-minute jailer or whatever it was. Like we don't need these ultra long fights with whole sections where you're not doing anything. Fyrakk had little sections where you're not doing anything when he's flying up and coming back down or doing whatever. But it felt good, it flowed pretty well, and it definitely did help whenever they nerfed the number of magic dots that went out. Because that was what
The
would always
healers are
get
doing
us.
something
Yeah,
during that, let me
yeah,
tell you. Oh,
yeah, definitely. Oh,
he became
I'll be right
Teferi.
back.
oh, okay, cool. We'll wait here.
He flipped
So-
his card.
My trap card.
That's right.
Send him to magic cylinder. He'll be back. But I guess we'll go ahead and let you say what your favorite one was, Glitch, while he's getting his deck box or whatever.
I don't know. I think it's probably Fyrakk, but again, I don't know. I like the Mirror Shield quite a bit, but I think it came up behind it came after Avarice, which I really enjoyed
Yeah,
because of the M+, and the raid was fine.
yeah,
I don't know. I just have to say Fyrakk because it was the most, or one of the more engaging fights. Like, to be honest, we steamrolled through a lot of the beginner bosses, even
Yeah.
with no gear.
Well, I remember. Did we get Fyrakk week 1 or week 2? On normal.
That's a good question.
I think it might have been week 2.
I think it might have been.
But
too, yeah.
like as soon as we killed no, it was the first week. We went right in and killed Gnarl Root on heroic, which we don't normally do, and went in and we got the second boss to. Okay, that's fair. But like the second boss, even though we had significantly less gear and we weren't going to kill her,
People in blue.
we had people in blues and we were
we
getting
were
to
like
25%.
this close to killing.
Yeah,
And you know, if you look at it from a big boy mythic raider perspective, like that's nothing. But for our bracket where we cap out at heroic rating, and yeah, we have a couple of us that are in near mythic raid eye level, more or less like now, you know, but not at that time. You know, we're not wearing that gear at that time. We're not playing at that skill level. No offense, man. Well, really is, but I'm not. You know, and it was impressive. We got in there, you know. But that also meant that some of the bosses, like Narut first boss, it fell over. Okay, fine. Igira second week, it went from like, oh, this is a struggle to, oh, she's dead.
yeah.
Oh,
What
okay.
boss?
Okay, I guess we move on now. Same thing with Volcaros. Same thing with kind of the same thing with Council. Nimue gave us a lot of trouble, but even then, you could feel it was like, okay, maybe we just need a little bit more gear. This one's tricky for the ranged as well. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe when we were progressing because we decided to do. Did we do Volcaros third and then we went over? I think we did because we were like, oh, we're gonna wait Larador.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's my point. We should have, but
trashed
you would have never thought that he would have been honestly infinitely easier than either Council or
that's
Nimue.
why. So that was my call for the most part, right? And because I looked at Laradar and I was like, this fight's insane, you know. We're gonna really struggle having to deal with the cleansing or whatever. And then we phased them before. We had 3 rounds of ground.
Yeah, we're like, what, like week 2,
we don't
week
need
3,
3 teams.
Crashed him.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Whatever, just get in there.
right.
But as a result,
I really enjoyed.
go ahead.
No. As a result,
Just as a result, a lot of the bosses are just like to me, and just Fyrakk was just the spiciest boy. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
For me, so part of me wants to say Fyrakk because but I feel like we just because we did him so much, like we were just by the end we were going in doing 1, 2, and then the final 2, first 2, last 2. That was it. Just to try and get axes. But I guess first 2, last 3, whatever. But I liked Smolderon a lot actually. I ended up really enjoying Smolderon. It felt really good when you got to see people bait lava out into like the crevices and getting into like these really crazy places. It felt really cool having the lava built up against stuff. So Smoldy Boy I think he was probably my favorite, and then Fyrek is a pretty close second as an epic fight.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of Smolderon, I don't know who it was. I know Glitch does, but we were doing progression one night on Heroic, and somebody dropped the
we know who it was.
fire
we know.
right in the middle, right under where he goes every time. Like how many stacks?
Zero.
You're like, somebody had to do this on purpose.
I guarantee.
Are you guys at liberty to say who it was?
I think
I guarantee.
Who it was, but
I guarantee it was Tipsy.
Throw him in the...
I will put Tipsy on blast with this. She's part of my tank team, and here's the thing: when I told Greeley this, when it comes to the tank team, we are a team. So when either of us messes up, it's on both of us. That's just how I take it. So I will step forward and say it was the tanks that messed up.
You heard it here, guys. Zaph's fault.
That's right.
It's all my fault. I did it.
It's the tank squad's fault.
Yeah.
But all in all, I mean, Glitch said it best. We had a really good season 2. Aberrus season 2 of Mythic Plus was great, and so season 3 is going to be hard to match. I think they did overall a pretty good job. I'm going to personally go into a definitely. Like, I'm going to personally go into a retrospective for Marksman Hunter me throughout the expansion, for at least the first 3 tiers. But it's going to be hard to follow up season 2, but I think they did a really nice job. I don't think there was a bad, other than having the seasonal affix in season 1 for that while, like, there was not a bad time, I don't think. I think this is a very strong rating and Mythic Plus expansion with just like your average player in mind. I think we're above average because we get our AOTC and KSM or KSH, all that stuff. But like, we're in there having fun, killing stuff in a pretty quick fashion, and then just enjoying the rest of the tier. Whether you go away for a while, or you stick around, do achievements, stuff like that. Particularly in an expansion that has flown by with like patches and stuff like that. So yeah, overall, I think they did a pretty great job, and I'm very optimistic about Season 4. But before we jump into Season 4, there's this little thing called 10.2.6. My guess on the roadmap that we had, which was the last video, I encourage you guys to check that one out. It's also the longest, just so you know. I thought it could be like an April 1st, April Fool's Day prank or something. I was sort of close, but not really, like, as in, like, timing-wise. I was only a couple weeks off. But we have this little thing called Plunderstorm. So, full disclosure...
Do you think it feels like a prank?
I'll let you talk in a second. Yeah, they both have some comments about it. Good, bad, other. I'm about to find out for the first time. But, so, for Plunderstorm, I've only played 3 games. My goal is to at least get all of the Mog items, the mounts, because I can't let Zaft get ahead of me again. I had to spend like 2 million gold to get ahead of this dude. So the least he can do is, or at least I can do, is get these mounts to keep up at this point. But I'm going to get all the collectibles and stuff like that. I'm going to do my best to get the Feat of Strength to get the first win. But that's it. I've only got, my best was a 5th place finish the very first time I tried it, and it's only gotten worse from there. So Zaft,
good first time.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was cowering in the corner over on one of the little fields, and then the level 10 came over here and like
you can hide in.
Used me as a weapon and was like killing other dudes with it. Like literally one shot me. It was traumatizing. Anyway, so Zaft is the only one of us 3 who have actively won a match. So Zaft, do you wanna talk about Plunderstorm? Congratulations on your double win, by the way.
Thank you. Number 1, Victory Royale. So, I think both Greeley and Glitch think that I'm going to have a far more positive spin on this than I actually am going to have. But, okay, good, because
no.
Well, because I have spent time like playing. I think I just got to like level like 6 or 7. Like most recently, like last night, I got to level 7 or renowned 7 out of 40. And it's such a God, it's so weird. It's such a weird thing. I don't like that it's a limited time event that has stuff that goes into World of Warcraft, right? That's my biggest problem with it. I don't mind that it's a battle royale. I think it's an interesting battle royale. Um, but if I had to take a guess as to why they did it this way, it's that they are going to take this and then make their own like game essentially and be like, "Yep, Plunderstorm is now just a downloadable game that you don't need a subscription to play. Pay, $20. You get Plunderstorm as its own individual game like Hearthstone or
They're
Overwatch,
gonna call it
and then you just
Heroes
have
of
that.
Plunderstorm.
Heroes of the Plunderstorm. And then they will also take all of
Oh
their devs
no.
away from that and not put any money towards it, just like they do with Hero of the
They
Storm.
they don't have devs for Heroes of the Storm.
I know. We
Damn.
know. Um,
Can you just imagine Arthas or
but
Illidan be like, "Where we dropping, boys?"
but, but
Well,
it's
I
not
can
an awful
now.
experience.
Thanks.
But it's not an awful experience. Like all games, it is better with friends.
Hmm.
Not good
Doing
with
duos was a lot of fun. Playing like, and I was playing with Ren, and like we did duos, and there were some funny plays that we got, and we got first place in that game. And I've gotten first place as solo, but like I think if you log in every day and just do, not to
Sorry.
brag. No, I think if you log in and you just like try and get like a couple like get like
first
1,000
place
plunder a
solo.
match or like 1,500 a day, like getting to 40 is gonna be relatively easy. It's I don't think I don't I think I thought the grind was gonna be worse than it was, and I think it'll be easy, especially when I convince Greeley to do duos with me. It'll just be easy with just the two of us. You're gonna get into like 4 or 5 games, and then you'll figure out the pace of it, and you'll be like, all right, this isn't so bad. But then once you get what you want, you're going to be like, all right, that's it.
That's
Yeah. That disappear into the
See
ether. I
ya.
don't need anything. So once we hit 40, I don't plan on revisiting Plunderstorm at all. But I
The
don't think it was as bad as I originally thought.
I will say real quick, just for the 3 games I have played, I think it's an enjoyable experience. But I'm gonna piggyback onto what Zaf said. I don't like that for one, it's limited time because the FOMO hits you real hard, and you do have to commit time to it.
Yeah.
And then also is that the rewards, like, it's one thing if it's its own standalone game and you get the rewards in it. That's awesome. That makes sense. But like, if you want the rewards in WoW, well, you got to go play this other game. But it's not just like a single pet for playing Arc like Spanner or whatever that Rumble game is. Like I did that this morning, or I did it at work today. Anyway, that took me like 40 minutes or less to get.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
You're gonna spend like what, 10 hours, maybe less. I don't know if you win a bunch.
10 hours if you win every single game.
Okay,
There
there
are
you
people
go.
who broke it down that were like, if
Also 10
you
hours.
just yeah. There's a pro gamer over here.
Mhm.
Now there are people who like broke it down and they were like, yeah, if you just do like this amount, and they're like, and let's say that averages you like 5 minutes, like this is gonna take you like 40 to 50 hours of gameplay to do. And yeah, so it's like that's why I'm saying like, and again, that's like the grind isn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. So I thought it was gonna be worse than that.
But I do appreciate that they are trying new things. And if this was something that wasn't limited time, just take out the FOMO part of it. I think it
Hmm.
would already be a much better thing just in general. Just have it.
Experience, yeah.
It's something that comes along with your WoW subscription. And if you want to put the rewards in the other games, fine. But the fact that you want these rewards, but also you have a very small window to do it. While, by the way, if you play Season of Discovery, you have Phase 3 coming out here. You have like information for Season 4 isn't here, but you have information for Season 4. So maybe you want to get on the PTR, try some things out. Maybe you're inquisitive like me, or maybe you want to do this thing called take a break. Like,
Yeah.
like the we asked as player base to have not big lulls of no content, and they did that, and I appreciate that as well. But like, I don't need to have like as Zaft and I, we're collectors. Like we like achievements. We like to do the things in the game. But when you're constantly hitting us like that, it's kind of nice to take a break. But they put this when a lot of people will be taking breaks before the Awakened Season 4, and that's something that I've been personally dealing with is the burnout. And with the burnout, I'll throw it over to Glitch.
That is actually my key gripe with Plunderstorm.
I didn't know that, by the way. So
that is
okay.
actually essentially
We actually
strikes to
haven't
the heart
talked
of-
that much about
We haven't talked about it
Plunderstorm.
yet.
No.
So look, full disclosure, haven't played it. Probably not going to. I'm not a fan of BRs. That has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. At least not directly. Side note, if you're angry at the fact that I haven't played it, comment below. Let me know. Let me hear it. Put some engagement on there. Let's hear it.
Yeah. Give us the
But
heat.
it's got nothing to do with them, right? So picture this, right? It's week 5,600 of season 3. No, it's not actually that week, but you get the point. We've been at this a while. We've been killing FireRack nonstop, not getting access. Every week we have 2, 3, 4, 5 disappointed people. The new year rolls around and they drop that fat. Well, I guess it happened before the new year, but they dropped the content, the upcoming thing, the roadmap, and they put that stupid, tantalizing black flag on there with the jolly freaking Roger, and they didn't say anything, and your imagination explodes and it runs wild. Is that their fault? No, but they probably should have chosen a different patch to do this with, to do the whole surprise, here it is. Because, at least to me, hold on a second, cute dog on screen, important to
Very
to
cute
look at
dog.
it.
Good dog.
Right?
Very good.
Dog acknowledged. At least to me, this was the oasis of a little bit, just a nice cold drink of water before the long walk into the desert between now and War Within. This was it. After weeks and weeks of nothing and nothing but FireRack and nothing but disappointment and nothing but like, I don't feel like playing anymore, I'm gonna go kill bugs on Helldivers. Pretty fucking good, by the way, by Helldivers.
Real good. Helldivers 2 is amazing.
After that, this, I was looking forward to this, whatever it was. Turns out, not whatever it was. And I think weirdly enough, the lack of marketing, I think, actually somehow mattered. That's baffling to me that they could have said nothing and I was still disappointed. But I think that was actually the timing combined with the nothing said, combined with like, okay, well, what do you mean this isn't WoW? I mean, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't,
I will say I think the lack of marketing.
It gave me the leg sweep,
Yeah, I know that you're not alone in that sentiment. I guarantee that there's lots of people out there who share that exact sentiment of like, yeah, I was hyped for something and this wasn't it.
Yeah.
This was not my jam. I will also say, and I think I mentioned this to Greeley a little bit, that I think the reason they did it was that they know they know the rumor mill that is WoW content creators.
Yep.
And if they came out months ago and said, hey, this is what we're going to be doing, we're going to have this limited time thing that is going to be a battle royale, I guarantee at least like 7 streamers are going to already have the reaction on the video. Battle royales are killing WoW. Is this the battle, the Plunderstorm disaster? You know what I mean? Like it was gonna
WoW
jump to
2 is a battle
It would have been
royale.
worse. It would have been worse.
Exactly.
Make no
Exactly.
mistake.
there were people who were going to jump to the most
Yeah.
ridiculous and absurd conclusions, and I think by not doing that and just being like, here's WoW's Battle Royale, go play it, it forced every single one of those nutsack streamers to go out and, well, because it's the new hotness, you're a WoW streamer, why aren't you playing the new hotness? What are you doing? Right? So it forced them to go and play matches and be like, this isn't so bad, you know? And now
To be fair.
there's like a competition of streamers in 2 days, right?
Mhm.
And I don't think that would have happened if they had pre-marketing and if they gave like people like a little bit of information here and there
Yeah.
by just being like, it's pirates, people love pirates, right? And then yeah, it's it's a battle royale, not everybody's jam, but I think it allowed people to give it a chance
To be
who
fair,
otherwise would not have given it anything.
It's also made sure everybody was on like an even playing field for the most part. Like
Yep.
of like with information on it at least.
Yeah.
to be fair,
It wasn't like,
there's a fair amount of people there's a fair amount of streamers that enjoy BRs, that play them often, that also play WoW. Like, there is actually a surprising amount of overlay. Not overlay, but overlap. That's what I mean. So,
I think it's easy content to make for streamers that they can. It's a quick, fast thing. Oh, we died in this. Oh, we didn't get the right thing here. We didn't get this. Like I've talked with like Ren and Tipsy about this. That there's like some powers that are just they're busted. Like these are the ones you want. And there are some powers that absolutely. I guarantee every single person. If I asked our comment section to be like, hey, comment your least favorite power, I guarantee half of them will be like, it's that fish. There's one power. It's like a fish slap ability. It's garbage. Nobody likes getting it, and it's one of those things that like if you start off the match and you get that super quick, um, not like you might as well be dead, but like you're gonna be worse off than somebody who gets a fire axe right away, or somebody who gets the flame tornado, or either of the whirlwind abilities. There's like everything else is better.
It literally anything else.
Yeah, literally anything else is a better option than that fish.
Yeah.
But but I do think there's some people who are on a playing like a different playing field. Because if they were like, oh, we're gonna beta test this with streamers and they're gonna do it, it would have been week one of people like me being like, I'm gonna try my best, and then running into Stavix, who's been at this for 2 weeks on the PTR, just slapping people, being like, I've already optimized this, man. The people have already optimized it, They're like, these are the best drop locations. These are the best things to do. This is how you optimize your time. Like, I think it's given people that better than I expected, but I can 100% understand your frustration, and I guarantee there's thousands of other people who share that frustration.
I seriously just think if they just remove the limited time thing. I
Yeah.
know they want you to play it now because you're most likely beta testing it now for its actual release eventually. Or like they're stress testing, or they're testing the concept as a whole.
I will
But
say, oh, go ahead.
I was just saying,
There- there-
I don't like the FOMO aspect. There's too much FOMO in the game already. Stop
Right.
adding
Yeah.
more.
And it's
You
not
know.
like a go log in and play and get your FOMO out of the way type of scenario.
Yeah.
It's play it and play it and
Play
play
it and
it
play
and
it,
play
yeah.
it and play it and like Ren was saying, if you're a collector, you don't actually have a choice. You do have a choice, but if you want it,
But do you?
you gotta play it.
Do we?
You
That's it.
have to do it.
You have to do it. And some of the stuff is pretty sick. Let's be real. So
Yeah.
they do.
The rewards are really nice.
Kind of dangle the carrot,
Yeah.
I don't know. I will also. This is a really random, like, bonus disappointment, but I do think it is kind of funny and a little depressing that at some point in the past, I don't know if you guys remember this, Blizzard or maybe just Activision, right, acquired the studio that used to make Spellbreak. Spellbreak is a BR that not many people have heard of that looked amazing. It looked so good. But it closed, just didn't have enough players, and then the company got bought and by Activision, and now they, WoW made a worse BR. Spellbreak, in my opinion. I'm just putting it out there. I don't even like BRs, and I'm telling you the spell break looked good. That should tell you something. And then they made a worse one.
I just want to say, as soon as you said that, Zaf sat up in his chair and was like,
I wanted to go look at it. Well,
think it's
because
cool.
I
I
thought
believe it's cool
so I played a couple of BRs back in the day. When PUBG started to get really famous, I would play battle royales with some of my friends from like my hometown area. So I really liked player unknown battleground. And there was another one that we played that was kind of like goofy graphics, but like you got to choose between, are you a warrior, archer, or mage? So it's like, oh, there's like class choice on top of like this battle royale aspect. And I thought it was the same one, and I wanted to see, and because I couldn't remember the name, but it's not. But this does look this looks really cool, actually.
Are you thinking about the one from High Res? High Res.
I couldn't even tell you.
Sort of that style of thing.
Because it was called like something Royale. It was like Fantasy Royale.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna find it.
I think the High Res one was Realm Royale. So
Realm Royale, that's the one.
yeah. Oh, I've heard of that. Realm Royale.
I like.
Was that the
Yeah,
High Res one?
that's
Whatever. Doesn't.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. That's my gripe.
Sure.
Plunderstorm.
So what I'm hearing is that they need to take what's left of the remnants of their development team for Heroes of the Storm, take Plunderstorm, and find a happy middle ground. Is what I'm hearing.
Just pump dev stuff into Heroes of the Storm. Let's play Heroes of the Storm again. I love Heroes of the Storm.
It should go without saying, but I'm gonna say it. With all the crap that I said being said, please continue trying random shit like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because the next
Oh,
one,
definitely.
Yeah.
the next one will be a badass thing that I'm gonna be like, oh my god,
Yeah.
So,
Well, just like what WoW's been doing, like there's a lot of like special little events. That's fairly new to WoW, particularly the cadence that they've been coming out. The whole Plunderstorm, you have Season of Discovery. I know that's not classic isn't Glitch's thing, but Colton has come back to the game, and the rune system is awesome. Yeah, you have to go get the runes and do all this other stuff, and it's like only to level 25, then 40, then 50, 60. But it's a condensed version of the game that's trying new things. And there's actually some runes, and I'm going to talk about this in a future Marks and Hunter video. There are some runes that they have in Season of Discovery. I'm like, that's an answer to a problem hunters have in retail. Like we don't scale well throughout the expansion. Well, there's this one ability. It's called it's not an aspect. It's like Heart of the Lion, I think is what it's called. And it's a group buff. I know we don't like group buffs, but it's a group buff that increases everybody's stats by 10%. Okay? That no big deal. But the hunter gets the buff twice. So I get my stats increased by 10% and then 10% again, which for example would help you. You're going to still be 10% stronger, and that 10% of stats is going to get bigger throughout the tier or throughout the expansion. And just little things like that. I don't think that's an easy like copy paste thing, but I appreciate that they're trying new things, and for the most part, like Plunderstorm is working. It's just I don't like the FOMO and all that. But it's not terrible. Yeah. It's not unplayable. Yeah. It's just you feel like you have to play it in this limited time frame to get your rewards, or you miss out. Or they're going to eventually be in the trading post, and all those tendies that you could be spending on other overpriced things, you have to spend on the seahorse everybody else got. But that's my take on all that at the very end. Like nice little bow at the top.
I think it is a good point to say, like, even though this isn't my jam, Blizzard still please continue to do stuff like this. Because at the very least, it gets people talking as well. Like people who are like, oh, like there's a battle royale in WoW. Like, oh, that's interesting. Like in World of Warcraft, and it's like, no, it's kind of like its own thing. Because like the first thought that I had when they were like battle royale, I was like, dope. I have my legendary axe. I'm gonna go rip some people up. I'm immediately gonna go in there. But no, everybody's on a level playing field, and you're gonna get clowned with abilities that you've never seen before. And you're gonna get clowned for a bit, and then eventually you'll get the cadence and you'll figure it out, and it's I think it's worth giving a try for anybody, even people who are like, I don't like battle royales. Go in there, give it a couple of tries, die to the storm, die to instantly in a game, and then go back and just like go in and just try and complete the main quest. Like there's like a little quest there. All right, well, I did what I could. Anyway,
Glitch, did you have anything you wanted to add? No.
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 That's the new. How about new?
No, he's right. Don't listen to me.
But so that's with 10.2.6. That's all the stuff that Plunderstorm brings. We're gonna have. Is it 10.2.7 and then 10.3, or is it not going to be 10.3? I don't know if they officially named it or not. They just called it Season 4. So let's just say it's 10.3. They're following the cadence, and it's 10.3. So that means it comes with Season 4 of Mythic Plus and the Awakened Raids. So they finally got the names of their faded season. So, I actually just put out a video, if you guys would like to check that out. It's Marksman Hunter specific, all about the Dinar upgrade items, which they're calling the Antique Bronze Bullion, because why not call it 3 names? Just call it Dinar 2.0, whatever, I don't know.
Every time you say that, by the way,
Oh.
I'm like, they're bullion cubes. I think of soup. I think of soup and broth every single
time.
Soup's
on! Type thing. Yeah,
soup's on. Soup dummies are back.
Oh God,
okay,
no.
Okay,
well, if we're bringing back more terms like that, one of the items, for example, is a term you would hear all the time in our Season 2 videos, which we are beacon gamers. And to give you guys an idea, Beacon to the Beyond, which is a trinket, it's a Mondo massive trinket that does obscene amounts of damage, particularly if you abuse it, well, like Zaf and I were. Those are purchasable with Dinar or the Bullion cubes. So you can make some great soup with it. But there is so many options. In fact, we were all kind of looking at it on the PTR last night. There was 4 pages of items that you could buy. We don't know a ton of information yet. You gonna be okay?
Yeah, no, it was the fact. If we're gonna keep calling them bullion cubes, that's so exciting.
Well,
for
you
me.
did
I love
it,
that.
so let's make that a thing. So if you guys are gonna call it that down in the comments, be sure and let us know. Give us like a soup, like a Kermit soup emoji or something. I don't know. That's tea, but whatever. You know what I mean. I'm trying. I'm trying. It's yeah, right. It's soup now. But there are so many options. It does show that there were a ton of very rare items. But I would encourage you guys to go check. Well, no kidding. Literally 4+ pages, and there was more of them too. Yeah, you're like, oh. So they don't have information on how to get these bullion just yet. You're probably going to get a certain amount, and then maybe you get some over time, because you can actually get Jigglesworth Senior, which was the faded mount that costs 3, but we only got 3 last expansion, so that would lead me to believe. Oh, and by the way, every other item that's an actual item is 2. So they're not going to go, oh, you only get 3, you can get Jigglesworth and get 1 item. Like, that doesn't make sense. So we're probably going to get maybe like they do with Sparks, where we're going to get like 1 or 2 to start, and then you get 1 every week or 1 every other week or whatever. I'm hoping it's every week. Let us have fun, Blizzard. It's going to be a short season anyway. But there's a ton of upgrades. I would encourage you to check those out. Like Neltharian's Call to Dominance for me. The Neltharax bow is going to be on there. I never saw it. In fact, our guild never saw it drop once on normal or heroic when we were clearing it. We only saw it happen one time in someone's vault, too.
Didn't we have an extra hunter at that point, too?
Yeah, we had 3. And we never saw it drop. And I personally have only seen it drop one time. That was in an LFR kill that I randomly queued in by mistake. Anyway, another story for another day. But you have the Dinar that's coming. We have the new Mythic Plus season, which is going to be all of the original 8 dungeons. And then there's going to be the side Dawn of the Infinite, but it's going to have a hero track. So it's still going to be viable items, which will be hard mode off to the side. Cool. But we also have this new thing that it's not going to be here for season 4, but it's going to be here for 11.0, and it's something that you can already see on some of the PTR, and that's going to be those hero talents. So I'm excited to talk about season 4, but I'd also like to talk about a little bit more by itself in some sort of long form, or at least as a solo episode. And I think that will most likely be what our next one will be, if you guys
Sure.
pretty good with that. But that does mean we want to talk about hero talents. So I think each of you have yours out, right? Or at least the current iteration of them. So Marksman Hunter shares with BM and obviously can also share with Survival. I haven't seen the Survival side of the tree yet, but I do have the Dark Ranger tree in front of me. I have it on my new phone here. And it's something that I have asked for in my wish list for Dragonflight. Glitch knows all about this. He was a lover of Survival Hunter back in the day when it was a dot or ranged class, and that is Black Arrow. So Black Arrow used to be really integral in the Survival Hunter rotation as it pertained to proccing like Explosive Shot and stuff like that. So Explosive Shot is back for all 3 specs, which is great. And you're going to see Black Arrow on the Dark Ranger tree. It's going to be the first option, so either Beast Mastery or Marksman Hunter can get that. And it's going to revolve around, instead of giving you extra Explosive Shots, it's going to give you every time it ticks, it has a chance to refresh your aim shot. So that means we're going to be getting more aim shots out. Your aim shots are going to be doing more damage, same way with your rapid fire. But I hope that gets changed around, because Marksman Hunter got a ton of changes in the PTR before Dragonflight, because it was in a world of hurt. Did not have a ton of good options. It's in a much better place now, but it still could use some work even today. Like, there's not a ton of points you can move around. There's just not. There's points that are wasted because abilities that you have to put another point in the ability to get it to do the thing that it used to do. Like, I don't like that. I'm hoping that they'll change that in War Within. But I'm glad to see that Black Arrow is back. I'm getting one of the things on my wish list. I'm just hoping that they're going to give us more options and more focus regeneration as a Marksman Hunter, because you're going to be getting all these free aim shots, which is amazing. But those aim shots cost focus, and your focus regeneration is completely tied into your steady shots. And steady shots, to give you focus back, requires skill points, which is so dumb. So I'm hoping that they're going to increase our focus regeneration or retool some things just a little bit. Maybe even put in the rhythm into the hero tree, so you don't have to pick between surging shots and in the rhythm. But those are just things that I thought of initially. Overall, I don't think my first hunter tree is too bad. Very interested to see what they're going to look like with a melee hunter and a super ranged hunter. How are you going to combine those in Sentinel? I think it's called Sentinel together to figure out like which. I don't know what abilities you're going to be able to share, unless you're going to give Survival, because it already does have some mid-range abilities that you can use, like bombs, Explosive Shot, that sort of thing. I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting, and I can't comment too much until they release both sides of the Marksman Hunter side of the hero talents. But I've already talked about mine, so what do you guys think about yours? I don't know who wants to go first.
Yeah, go first.
Looks like it's Zaft first.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So for Paladin, for Prop Paladin, actually Paladin has all 3 out. They have Lightsmith, Herald of the Sun, and Templar all out. But the 2 that are for Prop Paladin, which is what I play, is Lightsmith and Templar. I'm most excited for Lightsmith, without a doubt. There are people I don't know how like I haven't looked at a lot of like what the community has said and like what people are leaning towards. I'm really enjoying.
I can tell
I
you if you want.
like the sure. Is it Lightsmith?
Templar, which I believe is Hammer's O'Clock, right?
Yeah.
Is real popular, or at least real
Hmm.
popular in the sense of people are like, oh yeah, this sounds cool, dropping hammers on people's heads, neat.
Yeah.
Lightsmith could go somewhere else.
Oh man, I'm
It's
so
just
so
people do not dig it. They don't like the
I'm excited for
theme.
Lightsmith.
They don't like that it sounds like it's buffing play style. They don't like just the
That's the
tree in and
part
of
that I love
itself.
though.
Just
The
a
the
couple of
the
things that I've
buffing
read.
aspect of it. No, I get that. I understand that, but when it comes to I've been playing Paladin forever, and back in the day it was buffing play style. You know, you're using your judgment
Yeah,
and your seals to affect your party, and I kind of wish that they had brought that back instead of the auras. And with this, I get a little bit more of that flavor of like buffing your team. And I think if they implement it correctly and they do it well, I think Lightsmith will be very effective for Mythic Plus. I think it'll be really good for small group activity. Because it'll be a little bit more accessible for like, oh, okay, my healer can pick up this, or, I got Odwin with me. He can pick up this item. He can pick up this and get, damage, or, okay, Greeley can pick up a sacred weapon and he can do more damage, right? I think it'll be impactful for small group, and then Templar will be way better for raid because it'll just be straight big damage. I'm just adding onto it. And alternatively, if there's like a fight that it's like that ends up looking like oh my goodness, opulence in BFA, right? Where it's people splitting off into smaller groups. I don't know if you'll be able to switch these easily and accessibly in raid, but if you are able to, then
can.
I think Lightsmith will end up being better for small group, and Templar will be better for the large group. For just large group activity, add more damage.
I think
It's a
if
little bit
memory
more
serves,
passive.
I think if memory serves, they said that they want it to be as simple as just switching your talents. So
Perfect.
I could be
Yeah.
wrong.
So
But
so that's my opinion on it. I think Templar will be really good for raid, and I think that Lightsmith will be really good for M plus. I'm really excited for Lightsmith though. I am excited for the buffing aspect of it. I do like that it's just adding like an additional tree. I was a little confused when it first came out because they've been talking a long time for Paladin to be like, hey, we want to reduce the amount of buffs on yourself that you're keeping track of and like your buff timers. Because that's part of the prop paladin kit. But I don't know. I like that it's adding into it. That it is another thing to be like, okay, cool. I'm helping my party more and more. I like that. So I'm really excited for Lightsmith, and I don't care what anybody says.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
get in the comment.
you are like the one person who played Night Fae Prot Paladin
Yeah,
as well. So like the buff Paladin tank. You're like you're there.
it's yeah. I loved Night Fae for that reason because it was engaging because I was helping my team out. I could uh interactively help my team. So if it was like, oh, okay, all of Greeley's stuff is off cooldown for this fight that's coming up, like we're about to go into this boss on Tyrannical, but Glitch still has, a minute left on some of his big buffs. Boom, Blessing of Autumn. Let's get those buffs up quicker. You know,
Mhm.
it's such a small thing that I was able to do. But I think it was more impactful, and I don't know, it gave my brain something to like really think about and be
Yeah,
like,
like
what am I doing
it's
with this next
engaging.
buff? Yeah.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the Blessing of Seasons or whatever that ability is called was good back then. Is still good. It's just that it's had to compete with Fire and Forget, Rip and Tear,
Yeah.
Mega. Uh, what's it called?
Yeah. Omega AoE heal
Yeah,
Ashen
yeah.
Hollow,
Yeah.
Ashen Hollow,
or
Yeah.
send out
which was
every
literally
Holy
press
Shock,
button,
Judgment, and Shield.
explode
Yeah.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
that it's bad, it's just it
the
gets
competition
outpaced
was
by other
stiff.
things.
Yeah.
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 It was
Definitely.
it eats up a brain global to have to think about like, what am I putting this thing on? But using it is impactful. It's cool.
It's kind of like Wailing Arrow. Like, I would have told you at the beginning of the expansion, oh hell yeah, I'm bringing Wailing Arrow. That's another interrupt. That's something that we can do. I don't think I used it once. Because you don't have points. You don't have points to spend, or the other things are just flat out better. Like, I would have never thought I would have used Windrunner's Guidance, which is what increases the duration of my True Shot. But I do. I have to. It's like mandatory. And so it is interesting how there are abilities in our trees, and I'm assuming this goes for everybody, that aren't bad. Like, they're good, but they're just outpaced by other things that are kind of needed to make your class really vroom vroom, if you will.
There are some trees that you're deciding between prime ribeye and lobster tail at every node.
Mm-hmm.
And then not every tree is built the same, you know?
It's been whenever I've been, you guys have probably seen if you check out in my videos that I've been working on the Mage Tower, and it's very interesting when I'm going through and I'm looking at some of these guides and then consulting with Glitch and Zaft about some of these abilities. I'm like, what do you think about this? Like, I don't know, I don't know Boomkin. What do you think is the best between these two or whatever? And like you said, like, there are really good options out there, and I'm looking at my tree, I'm like, No.
This half does not exist.
You want Sentinel Owl? No. Didn't think so. It's just stuff like that.
I really thought they were gonna make Sentinel Owl cool.
It was really only good on one class or one fight.
I really thought we were gonna have that Ajara moment where we were all gonna be hiding behind the pillar, and then Greeley was gonna sound the horn, and the eagle would fly in, and we're like, yeah, we can see it,
and carry us off to Gondor.
Nothing.
Not only did we not have that in raid at all, I don't think there wasn't a single dungeon that we were able to effectively.
Not that I can think of.
A damn dungeon. The only thing where we're hiding behind something and in order to not get hit was last boss in Neltharion's lair, and you can shoot through those shards, so it doesn't matter.
I guess the only other boss would have technically been like Razan. We could have used it on Razan, just because when you're going, but it doesn't make any sense.
To get Wailing Arrow just for Razan, like, it's not worth it.
There's literally one fight and only one version of the fight that it was mandatory for a while, which was the mythic Echo of Neltharion, because people were using it to do extra damage in between the walls. That was it. So that's super frustrating.
Sure.
I mean, I could have done it. We could have used it on the wall, but we just throw Zaft's body through the wall and we're good. Like, or even better, one of the DPS gets the thing and they get knocked into the wall and give everybody 12 stacks or whatever. Anyway, I love you, Pinoy. So there were just not right. No, he knows I love it.
Through the middle.
What? But what if I just put my back to the middle?
Rewind.
Yeah, but it was frustrating because I was like, okay, Resonating Arrow was a cool ability. They're re-implementing it to the Sentinel Owl. It's very hunter-esque. It's in the hunter tree, so it's not even just a marksman hunter ability. Great, it makes sense. It's cool looking, and then you proceed to make it not worth using. Or you don't even really have points to spend to get to it. You just don't. I guess you could have moved your movement speed ones, but that could have been something you could have moved. But like, if you want Trank Shot, if you want Trank Shot over here, or you want to misdirect, or you want Concussive Shot, or anything like that you might use for various things, because by the way, you have to spend put a point in Concussive Shot to get down to Trank Shot. Otherwise, I wouldn't have used that as an example. You just can't. So I'm hoping that all classes will get to see some shuffling of their current talent trees. I pray that they don't just say, these are great, move them into War Within. Because I feel like that would be super frustrating.
I don't think so. I think we'll see some...
But also what I'm hearing is that Zaf needs to get on the PTR and start making waves with his Lightbringer or whatever build. I'm just
Or
saying.
whatever.
Sleeper agent.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Well,
Put me in there, coach.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I am right now straddling two worlds,
Mm-hmm.
with a druid and evoker, and I have been insanely lucky that all of them are out right now, which is crazy to think about, right?
Right? Yeah.
Money well spent.
And let me just say, at least in the evoker side, the cow pow, man, we really, we're killing it. Move over, Mage. We're the main character now. That's not true. The Mage one's insane. There's a lot to like in those. I don't know. Like I could rattle off. Actually, I could rattle off a bunch of stuff about Evoker as it is. I'm actually gonna start with Druid.
Okay.
And not Boomy. I'm gonna start with the Guardian one because I don't remember what it's called, but the Guardian Feral one that starts with an ability called Massive Attack.
Druid of the Claw.
Already, Druid of the Claw. Already one with a stupid name, and I'm not even into the tree yet. That tree has something that I have asked for years for. And that is, when you shift out of bear for a few seconds, you keep frenzied regen, you keep your armor. You are, not all of it, but about as tanky. Now, if you do that in a 20 with the first mega pull, you're gonna fucking die. Okay, fine. But a lot of other times, in raid when you're off tanking, that's gonna be useful. Hell, in raid when you're main tanking, that might actually be useful. Because of how it's looking to be, right? Like as long as there aren't any tank busters coming out, you can probably do it. And that is gonna allow a lot of freedom, or at least it looks like it might. And just the possibility alone of having a druid spec that actually shape shifts more than once at the start of the fight. Give me more of that. That's fantastic. Big fan. Going to be trying it. Going to be massive attacking some things. Looking forward to it. Aside from that, the Elune one, that one looks really cool as well. I don't have too much to say about that one. Just hey, arcane damage. Moonbeams go burr. I've been a Boomy main for a decade. It's kind of my jam. Tree one. It's like they want Resto and Moonkin to have like, hey, you can summon a bunch of treants and they do things and it's fun. It's probably gonna be more of a Resto thing because they can summon them more often. It would be nice if I could roll up to a boss and be like, hey, here's the squad and I have a forest behind me. That would be cool. But I can only do it every minute. Like that'd be badass. Resto can do that. Resto could be like, hey, yo, it's the homies, Spawn a bunch of Grove Guardians or whatever they're called. That's cool, but yeah. Feral, sorry, Rend, I don't care. Moving on. we can get around
our
here to
token
get her
feral
opinion.
druid.
Right.
Sorry, Pinoy sometimes. Sorry, Black Coffee. It is what it is. And then the Evoker ones. They're nuts. I think they need to take some of the like Mage, Evoker, that one DK one that is boo nuts. I don't know. There's a couple other ones that are insane that have a lot of things that change how you play, and a lot of things that just seem like a lot of fun, but are also really powerful. And they need to integrate a little bit of that. Like I can't believe there's trees that I get as an evoker that allow me to blink with hover. Huh? Excuse me? Are you insane? One of the scale commander ones lets you control your deep breath. I could literally be, this is red leader coming in and just get in there. That's a lot of fun. Would it have some practical application? Maybe, maybe not. But it sounds cool, and it might do something. Dude, you look at really, I don't know if you look at the BM Hunter one. My God, it's boring. Oh my God, that tree.
The BM
it's like
survival
Packmaster
one?
or something like that, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow, it's boring. It doesn't do anything.
Well, so in general, the hunt that's one reason why people are like, you need to do something with Hunter. Like we're going to have to see something.
Like, dude,
because it's incredibly more of the same.
It's insane to me. It's insane to me that Cowpow and I were talking about one of the first tree that came out for Evoker. It has a thing where you can drop motes that speed up your allies. It's not fancy, but him and I were talking about how, hey, this buff lasts 30 seconds, and it's tied to something that we can spam. How many of these can we propagate on the raid? You know,
Right.
that sounds. Is it practical? No. Is it fun? Yes. What can Hunter do like that?
More aim shots.
Whoa. Okay. Well, more aim shots. If they give you the focus, that's actually gonna be cool. That'll harken back to the
Well,
explosive thought, explosive shot.
I
that's gonna be
personally
fun.
think they need to go back to the way it worked in Legion. When not to say that I never want Marksman Hunter to just be broken to be broken. Like
Yeah.
I don't ever care if I am
Why
the
not?
best. I mean, yeah, I know. Why not? But like I don't care if I'm bottom barrel. I've played Marksman Hunter on both sides of the spectrum, but just have it to where aim shot no longer is capped on your 2 charges. It doesn't have a charge system, and you just spam it. Now it doesn't make sense then with it giving you free aim shots with Black Arrow. You could still change it to something else, but make it easier to pick up and play, because right now I don't think it's hard to play, but there's a huge barrier to entry for people to play Marksman Hunter because we used to be very immobile, even though most of our abilities were usable on the move except for aim shot. Like we're the most mobile we have been in quite some time, but it's still people just they don't get it that you have to do it's an order of operation, and if you don't do the right order of operation, you've really kind of screwed yourself over for 45 seconds, or what's worse, you use your main cooldown that does the most damage possible in True Shot, and you use it, and then an ability or like you have to go into an intermission or something like that. You really have to know fights to really get the most out of your Marksman Hunter. Whereas, I'm not going to say Beast Mastery is like, oh, I'm Beast Mastery, but you're constantly whittling down that main ability in Bestial Wrath. You're constantly whittling it. And you used to do the same thing with the Snowshoes Legendary in Legion. Every time you spent X focus, it lowered the remaining cooldown by 2.5 seconds. Then they had that in BFA. It worked really well. I used it it was one of your talents, and then one of your Azurite traits was in the rhythm. Well, or not, yeah, it was in the rhythm, but it was also Unerring Vision, which gives you stacking crit when you're in your True Shot. Well, now those two are on the same node, so you can't have them together. And they nerfed the calling the shots, is what they call it now, where you have to spend 50 focus, which is half of your focus bar, to whittle down the cooldown, and then it doesn't work. So there's a lot of abilities. I say it all the time. There's a lot of abilities that make it fun and engaging, and you like actively are whittling down your cooldown. So I'm throwing all these abilities and spending all this focus to get my cooldown back, and then I'm going to throw it again. I'm going to do it all over again. I'm just throwing all this stuff at the wall, and some of it's sticking, some of it's missing. I'm sure, I don't know, but it's there. They're conflicting right now because they're like, oh, well, it would be too strong if we had both of these, so we're going to make you pick one, and then you kind of get something that's not easy to pick up and play. I don't know. I still don't think it's that hard. Like, there's some mage specs that are not easy to, pick up and really do well in, like, min-max, but I feel like Marksman is not super noob-friendly. Just play Beast Mastery Forehead.
Definitely.
Not because it's just because it's like, oh, it's amazing or anything, because it's rather boring, but it's just it's easier and less. Marksman Hunter is definitely less forgiving. So
I was just looking at those talents, and I'm curious why, like, how is the flavor of survival and Beastmaster not summon 100 pets? How is that not the flavor that you go with? It's called Packmaster. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And not a single thing is like anything close to summon a dire beast, summon another pet, there's another pet that fights alongside you, something else comes in. Literally, like, you could have just like just a talent on there that's just like, yeah, like you have a chance on hit that a pet will come in with a steel chair and just punch the thing and then run off. Like, I think it would just be cool to just literally the first node to just be like, yeah, your crits will summon a random pet from your stables to literally just plow through your target at a random
Well,
angle.
You know,
Add that
especially
to it,
because
and I'll be happy.
yeah, well, especially because when they said, "Hey, it's going to be a melee spec survival," the number one example that they gave us was Rexar.
Rexar.
What does Rexar? What is he known for? For one, being a melee hunter, but also having specialty pets.
Oh yeah, and thrown weapons like
Yeah.
Two of them.
2 thrown axes.
Yep.
It could have they could have done something cool. I don't know.
Ooh, I wonder
And
if
maybe
they'll
they
do.
will. These are very
I wonder if
early.
they'll do thrown axes and stuff like that for the Sentinel. For
If-
marksman, that's like a ranged
If they
esque ability.
don't,
Like,
I've
what are
been
they
saying,
doing?
look, I've been saying that Hunter should just be able to use thrown weapons. If you're not gonna
Yeah.
give us like the Dark Spear Hunter thing that Vol'jin was, I don't remember what it's called. Shadow Hunter, maybe.
Shadowhunter.
Shadowhunter.
I don't know. It'd be badass. Like, wouldn't you feel badass if you could just be a marksman hunter but with a spear? Same thing. Just aim shot. Aim shot. I don't know. If you're not gonna add the flavor in some other way.
I mean, if you're gonna allow the melee specs to use the ranged ability Arcane Shot, I mean,
yeah.
or like the interrupt for one of them was literally like you pull out this little ranged interrupt, like, psh, okay, got it. Okay, put that
Yeah,
away. I'm a
possible.
melee again. Yeah.
Oh, also, Saft. Funny you mentioned the Packmaster does not actually like have a chance to summon a beast. You know what does have a chance to summon a beast? Dark Ranger.
What?
Yeah.
Does
Summons a Shadow Beast. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! I didn't even know.
It's very interesting that they are leaning heavily into the shadow aspect.
Why?
So
It's
yeah.
cool.
I mean, obviously it's Dark Ranger. I get that.
Yeah. I think it works.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Packmaster have that?
So one of the things that I've been racking my brain in the car because I'm in the car 2 hours a day, driving to and from work. Yeah. And I think about marksman
I like
hunter
driving,
and stuff like
too.
that a lot. If I'm trying to think what remnants of old survival hunter, the dot range class, have they not implemented in the game from back like WOD and back, and what that would be survival flavor in addition to the current marksman flavor. And one of the things was the exotic munitions is something that I would say would be somewhere in there. The reason I bring that up is if anybody looks at my hunter and I go to or what is it? Which one of my characters is one of my hunters? Maybe it's Mechanome. I don't know. Either way, has exotic munitions still on his bar from back in Warlords because I haven't removed it. It's still in the game. I know it is because I can still hover over it. It's still got a tooltip, but you just can't do anything with it. So that would be interesting to see them bring in like the exotic munitions. You know, each one does a little bit different thing. There was like poison, fire, frost, that sort of thing. But other than that, other than maybe doing some sort of like ranged javelin, two-handed axe, two one-hander axe throw type thing, I don't know what else they're going to do that's going to mix your ultra range in marksman and your mostly melee survival. You know what I mean? I feel like those don't necessarily mesh all the time. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited. I'm not going to shoot it down ever.
Aren't you gonna shoot?
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
Put it down right now.
Sorry.
I'm done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, just real quick, look out for Kao Pao when he gets that hero talent, the Ruby Adept. That's gonna be insane for preservation. Oh man, that's all I'm gonna say. He's gonna
Which
be
one?
pumping.
It's
one
not
is that
called
one the
Ruby
Flame
Adept
Shaper?
anymore. It's Flame Shaper. They changed the name for some reason. Sounds cooler. Yeah, that thing's gonna be nuts.
Is it engulf?
So what's it do?
Is it the top
bottom
down?
of the one of the
Oh,
bottom ones.
okay.
So it gives you this
Consume
dot/hot.
flame.
Yeah, it gives you this dot/hot that you can put on people. That is more effective Yeah, look at Zaft. Look at Zaft. That is more effective the more hots or dots you have
Already.
on people. That doesn't sound crazy.
More dots, more dots.
The dots, whatever, right? It's the fact that the rest of the tree eventually gives you the ability to essentially engulf things that you've used Dream Breath or Flame Breath on and explode that shit for a lot of throughput. And you get two engulfs, and things help you get to your breaths quicker. I'm telling you, if it stays that way, he's gonna be making some insane explosions.
This is gonna be nuts for M plus. Like, so to give people who don't have it in front of you, so engulf, 20-second cooldown, engulfs your target in Dragon Flame, damaging or healing them. For each of your periodic effects on the target, so both dots and hots, the effectiveness is increased by 50%. So that's the top talent. That's the first talent you get. At the bottom, so this is what Glitch is talking about. Consume Flame, and this is just preservation. Engulf consumes 8 seconds of Dream Breath from the target, detonating it and healing all nearby targets equal to 300% of the amount consumed, reduced beyond 5 targets. That's why it's like, that's, be really good for M plus.
And here's the thing.
But yeah, I was like, you start off a pull with tip the scales, Dream Breath, so it already has a massive long running, or I guess is it the opposite?
No,
is it the longer you hold it, the shorter it? Okay.
The longer you hold it, the shorter the hot is.
Okay. So you do that, and then you hit him with an engulf, consumes that, and then also explodes into even more healing. On top of the superpower burst healing that Cow Pow already does between Spirit Bloom and Reversal, and that's just looking at those 2 talents by themselves, not to mention the 9 other talents that impact those abilities.
Yeah.
So there are. Look, I'll be honest. You're right. The AOE heal burst for Evoker is already pretty high and pretty strong. Maybe they don't even need this, but there are potential scenarios where you will put a reversion, or not a reversion, put an echo on somebody. Dream Breath, the short charge Dream Breath. Put 2 Dream Breath dots on somebody. 1 at reduced effectiveness, sure, but it's still a Dream Breath. And then engulf that person twice. And blow that up for 300% healing. Or engulf them, leave them with a Dream Breath, switch targets, engulf that other full Dream Breath on somebody else. There's so many permutations there. If engulf functions with stasis, then that means
I was about to say that was my next point.
2 engulfs and then have 2 more engulfs. Does that do anything? I don't know, but it's exciting.
Who knows?
So
Meanwhile, Packmaster. Attack a pet.
So what I'm hearing is, as long as I don't get one shot in Mythic Plus next expansion, I'm gonna be surviving longer.
Yeah.
And I like that.
No, you're gonna be fine.
Yes. So yeah, I really I think we're all in a pretty decent position, at least right now. I would love to see them make more changes, and I only speak from the Marksman Hunter side of things. We saw a lot of changes very late, just before Dragonflight came out. They redid basically our entire talent tree, or at least a large majority of it, from what we saw initially. So there is tons of room, time. We don't even know when the expansion's officially going to drop. My guess is September, October, but
please no.
We'll see. Yeah. Well.
No, please don't do it.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But that does give us time to check out alpha and beta if we get invited / paid for it / get into beta anyway.
Pay for it? What is this?
What? We don't do that. But hopefully we'll have some more conversations about that very soon. We will be talking about Season 4, a look ahead to Season 4, maybe in a little bit long form for our next episode. But before we sign off, guys, you have anything else you want to put a bow on this episode, or you think we're good?
I told you it'd be odd one.
If you have any,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Well, we are not done. All right. Speaking
not
of that, I gotta read my notes here. Come on now. So right here, who got the Lego axe? Who got that legendary axe? So first off, the very first person who got one was actually one of our healers on his alt. Rinche is our resto shaman. Yeah, go ahead.
We started getting our axes as far away from our DPS as possible, and then slowly moved closer to them. Rinche got on his DPS alt, and then I got it.
Idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea that one night how much I was like, Rinche, put on the axe.
Just do it.
Do it.
I found it. I found the clip.
Oh, you
I
did?
found the clip of Oddwin going, wait a minute, what's that? I tried to, don't worry, I have it. I'm going to cut it down and figure out how to post it.
Amazing.
But yeah, we had it on a... Go ahead.
Can you add the sound effect, the like guard alert sound effect from Metal Gear Solid, the like...
What? Yeah. So we had a healer alt get it first. That was not on any of our bingo cards.
Nope.
Then we ended up getting one on Zaf, so our tank got one. And then the first DPS in our group
Weeks
to get
later,
there, like 3 weeks to a month later, was
Oddwin.
And I went back and looked, and I wrote Oddwin. I wrote it backwards because you guys couldn't see it in the camera, but we were right. It was Oddwin. Again, congratulations, buddy. I'm glad you got it.
Sorry, Teach.
But I'm kind of upset that it took like 4 buffs of that to finally get this
Seriously,
item.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm hoping that they will make it relatively easy for them to upgrade the item for Season 4. I did see like the Dinar vendor is going to have like an item to do it, but I don't know how many times you have to buy that item to boost the weapon, and it appears to be it's a bunch.
Let me tell you.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
As raid lead, this like legendary from the last boss RNG shit is killing.
Yeah.
This is killing me right now. Because it changes my, how I want the raids to run, how I want people to, I wouldn't have held us so long on Fire Axe if there hadn't been legendary axe. I don't know about you guys. I was sick of that boss by the third to last, second to last, just like get us out
How many weeks after we had comfortably cleared did we like 6, 7?
A lot. I don't remember the number, but I know some of us were getting close to that, 15 guarantee or whatever.
Yeah.
We started doing heroic on
no.
That's how
Fenwig got hers, and that was her 15th kill. That was her guaranteed kill.
Jesus Christ. It's killing me, man. They need to change it. They need to do something. I understand legendary and it's cool, and honestly, I'm not even opposed to how they're doing it with like, the mythic team killed them world first. Now it's a thing. That's interesting. That's cool. You can't leave us to dry like this, out to dry like this anymore. Please.
I think the drop name needs to be better, especially if they're gonna make it. I think that they should maintain the way that the legendary is made. I think that the way that both of the legendaries interacted with like professions, and it was like a grind to do them and make them. I think that's interesting. It was very reminiscent of like the old legendaries. It was very reminiscent of like Etiesh and Shadowmourne and Valnier. Very reminiscent of that. But the low drop rate, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Not worth it.
Yeah, the drop rate should have been much higher to begin with, so they don't have to continually like. I have no problem with you have, I don't know, a 10% chance to get it on your first kill, and then it starts to go up. You have that bad luck protection. But if you look at those numbers, to get it on your first kill is like a 0.5%. which is harder than like boss mounts, like
That's a low
Garrosh,
for
and
rocket
like yeah,
chances.
that's so stupid. And yeah, it goes up, but it goes up by like this, and then you get to a point where you actually start to see the bar actually get bigger because your eyes don't see 4K, type thing. The pixels finally caught up to you, but like it should have been 10% or whatever. And I'm not saying you need to give these things away. I'm not saying that at all. But if you are somebody who is going in there clearing the perceived hardest content outside of, mythic raiders, which not everybody can be a mythic killing fire act raider. I get that. But like this is the carrot that you're dangling in front of people. Like eventually they should be able to get it. If I say, hey, it's 10% the first week and then it's 15 or 20, like it needs to be a tangible number and not something that we have to data mine and be like, well, if you use 18 of the greater essences, then you'll have a 7% chance to get it type thing.
Yeah. And I like they had lesser essences, and I feel like those were just like placebo effect, like orbs. Because I don't believe that they did literally anything.
I think they all are until somebody data mined the actual percents. All that stuff is placebo. It's all it is. Because you have no idea. You're just saying you have a much greater chance of zero is still zero.
Yeah, it doubles your chance, but like your chance was originally a 0.1%. Like now it's 0.2.
And especially for a legendary, the legendary does good damage, but there are some people that are just like, well, it's just an item level increase. Like it has the on use, but it's still just an item level increase. It's not like full bullpen like this is Shadowmourne and you're done for type thing. It's not like a stacking make you a god for 30 seconds or whatever. But
I mean, like even like when we talked about like the claw at the beginning of season 3, we were talking with Cow Pow, and we were like, oh yeah, he's gonna have that claw until Fire Act, and he was like, nope, gets replaced super early. Nope, piece of shit.
I got
this
put it on the shelf.
It's not that it was a piece of shit. It's just that there were cantrips on other weapons that were good.
But you get what I'm saying, that it's like, all right, he put through all that work. Like you didn't get one, but like it was made a little bit better by the fact that it was like, but it was replaced like week 2.
And now I have to farm it for this season.
You can do it, and we can help. That's the power of the Home Depot.
This podcast is not sponsored by.
No,
we are not sponsored by Home Depot.
But if they want to, I wouldn't say no.
By Home Depot, and
no, it needs to be Lowe's. I like to go to Lowe's.
Theme, I think
maybe
we're not gonna get sponsored by Home Depot.
Yeah, it's gonna be Lowe's.
Lowe's is fine. Lowe's is fine.
Yeah. No, I have a quick story before we end this. Last fall we were trying to clean up our backyard because my house is 25% house and 75% yard, and we have a bunch of trees, so we needed bags to get all the leaves, right? We go to Lowe's, they're pet friendly, they're out of bags. They're like, oh, you need to go over to Home Depot, it's just over there. Okay, we go over there, and I immediately get like accosted as soon as I come into the door. They're like, sir, is that a dog? And I'm like, yeah, it's Zelda. And they're like, yeah, no dogs. I'm like, but your sign there says that you're pet friendly. No dogs. And so I was like, okay, well, Haley, you go in there, you get the bags. I'll stand here and hold the dog. Haley was driving. She had the keys. I couldn't go back to the car. I'm standing there outside next to like the lawnmowers and stuff, and the guy came up to me, he goes, no, you have to leave property. So I had to leave the property or get into my car when I told him I couldn't. So they said that I had to leave the property. So I literally had to go down the whole length of the parking lot and stand in the grass next to the, I don't know what the gas station is, the Quickie Mart or whatever that's down there. And I had to stand there and wait. And Haley calls me like 10 minutes later and is like, where are you? I'm like, I'm getting the Slurpee. Come get me, man.
They kicked me out.
Yeah. So that's my tangent.
That's the wildest tangent I think we've ever done.
Yeah.
But also, Home Depot doesn't like pets, so don't shop there.
Apparently, yeah.
That's what I'm taking from that.
Even though their little slidey door says that they're pet friendly. Just saying.
Yeah, well,
Just saying.
fuck 'em.
All right, so now that Oddwin got his shout out that he deserved by being the first DPS to get the legendary, do you guys have anything else you want to leave the people with before we see him next time?
Any questions, send them into ggzquestions@gmail.com. We will answer them on stream. I have a couple from Sarah, but we will save those. Those are different. They were unrelated to what we were kind of talking about. One is more on season 4. That's okay. We'll talk about it. Don't worry. We'll go in it. Some of it's like lore related, some of it's about collections, and then one of them is specifically about season 4. So I'll bring it up on the season 4 deep dive.
Yeah, then that will most likely be season 4-esque for our next podcast. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight, and consider subscribing here on YouTube or follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Eggplant. I personally am going to have a ton of Marksman Hunter-esque content coming out. Also have a ton of other video games, because believe it or not, I play a lot of games that aren't just World of Warcraft. If you have followed me currently, you definitely know the game of choice for me right now is Super Mario 64. Finally, bucket list, like childhood bucket list, gonna beat that game 120 stars and take on Bowser and live to tell the tale. But we're going to have a lot more of our Drexit adventures, whether that be Mythic Plus or Raid. We will be diving into those Awakened raids, which will start off with Vault of the Incarnates. It's been a hot minute. I'm excited for some of those bosses.
Right.
Not excited for some of those other bosses. And we're going to talk about that next time. So thank you guys for watching. And from Glitch, Zaft, and myself, thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
All right, friends.